Practice problems 4. Describing the sample APA style. Part 1. Providing an APA write-up. Alright. Nice simple question. What is your sex? Alright. Simple if we constrain sex to a dichotomy, that is. There is the frequency table. Alright. Big sample. What we have to do is report N and percentage for males and females, and also address missing data. Alright, so what we have here, we have 38% males, 61% females, N and percents. Data were not available for 628 participants. Do I report percents or valid percents? What you have to do is report in a way that accurately tells the story. Here it's not going to make much difference, okay, because they're so close. There's not a simple answer to that. Now here I reported in and parenthetically provided the percentage. I could have just as easily done it the other way. Here I'm reporting the percentage and I'm putting the N parenthetically. 61% female, N equal. Now remember, if you do it this way, this is little n, okay? Here's big N, little n, and little n, subset. N space equals space. Data were not available for this many. You typically don't report a percentage if it's less than 1 or 2%. How much do you owe in student loans? All right, here's my information. So you see we've got some missing data to deal with. That's why I needed code book. Okay, so those are the observations that provided data. Mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum. Okay. Mean, standard deviation, min, max, and missing data. Now, what's my percentage of missing data? All right, Stata doesn't give that to me. I've got to figure that out. So I've got 29% missing data. That's pretty big, so I'm going to include that percentage here. Now this is a standard way to report a continuous variable APA style. Minimum, maximum, mean, and standard deviation parenthetically, and then address missing data. So students owed between 0 and $999,999, mean and standard deviation. And I included the dollar sign here because that's the metric of mean and standard deviation. You will see it done both ways, with and without. Data were not available for this many people, which was 29%. Remember, percentages have to be rounded to the nearest whole number, APA style. Standard way to do a continuous variable. Min, max, mean, standard deviation, and address missing. What is your religious preference? Okay, there's our frequency table. Again, we've got some missing data to work with here, almost half of the sample. All right, now typically I report missing data, and I tell you to report missing data at the end, but we have so much missing data here. It seemed to me that it makes sense to just say that up front. So out of this many participants, this many, right here, 53%, provided information concerning their religious affiliation. All right, now I've got to tell the story, and there's no one exact way to do this. What I did is I started with the mode and I worked my way down. Of those, Okay, and I'm reporting valid percents because I'm talking about the 53% of the total sample that gave us information. Out of this many participants, this many provided information. Of those, 46% with the N were Roman Catholic, and then I just worked my way down, followed by this many Protestants, okay, and this many were Jewish. Now, given that the way the question was asked, there were three specific religious affiliations provided: Protestant, Roman Catholic, and Jewish. So I reported those first. There were actually more people who said they were something else or who were not religious than there were Jewish. But I included Jewish with these two because I thought let's talk first about the people who actually selected one of the three specific religions provided. All right, so of those, this many were Catholic, this many were Protestant, and this many were Jewish. Then we've got 8% over here, this many, who followed a different religion, and 12% were not religious. Right here. Now, I could have stated the number and reported the percentages parenthetically. Either way would have been okay. And as I said, typically you report missing data at the end of the write-up, but I chose to address it here because there were so many missing. Remember, there's no one perfect correct way to do this. Do instructors treat students the same regardless of the student's gender? Okay, this was a question. And we've got a Likert type scale here. We're going from strongly disagree, somewhat agree, and strongly agree. That's actually a Likert scale, not a Likert type scale. All right. So how are we going to tell the story? Well, this is a case where it kind of makes sense to have a statement saying what the question was. Okay, students were asked if instructors treated students the same regardless of the student's gender. Now, you don't say people were asked their sex, of which the responses were male and female. When you say there were this many men and this many women, it's pretty obvious what they were asked. This is a case where it makes sense to actually provide the question that was asked. Now, again, we have a lot of missing data here. Okay. We've only got 18% that actually provided an answer to this question. Maybe not everyone was asked the question. I don't know. I don't know how Pew did this. But given that we don't have a lot of responses, I started out by saying of this many who responded, okay, of these people, and then I reported the valid percents. Because there's a big difference between saying 37% strongly agreed and 7% strongly agreed. And this better tells the story. So you do what's necessary to tell the story. So of the people who responded, and then I just started with the mode and worked down. Most strongly agreed, right here. And this many somewhat agreed. Then this many disagreed and this many strongly disagreed. Data were not available for 82% of the sample. Remember, percentages are nearest whole number. The N is italicized and it's in space equals space. And again, I chose to address the 82% at the end here. Okay, up here I said of these people who responded, and down here I said they weren't available for that many. What you have to do is tell the story. Okay, now let's do this a little differently. I'm going to give you some write-ups and you identify the problems with the write-ups. The APA formatting. There was 100 participants, this many males, this many females. Data was not available for this many. Well, first of all, there were 1,000 participants here. Percentages need to be rounded to the nearest whole number. These are wrong. And data were not available. Data is plural. The word data is plural. Do not report a percentage that's less than 1 or 2%. So you wouldn't add that there. Okay. Participants reported paying between $0 and $500,000 in student loans, mean and standard deviation. Data for student loans were not available for 28% of the participants. See any problems? First of all, we've got some redundancy in our write-up. See how we've got participants, participants. Now this is a case where you have to write this out and you have to read it and you have to listen for that redundancy. We've also got it here with student loans. They owed this in student loans, data for student loans. Hear that? So you might just say not available for 28% and get rid of participants. Data were not available. Don't repeat it. Don't be redundant. And then the N has to be italicized here. I did it bold here to make it stand out, but it just should be italicized. In a survey of individuals' religious preferences, most claimed to be Roman Catholic, followed by people claiming to be Protestant, while 12% stated they have no religious preference. 8% said they were other, and 1% were Jewish. No data were available for 473 people. Okay, we got a lot of problems here. First of all is this notion of claim to be. And I use this as an example because I have seen students do something like this a lot. See how we have, they claim to be Roman Catholic. They claim to be Protestant. Okay? There's really no reason to have this qualifier. This is obviously self-reported data. The implication is I don't know if 46% were really Roman Catholic or not, but they claim to be. Well, you going to do that for everything? 46% claim to be male. 46% claim to be 25 years old. There's just no reason for that. Okay? There's no reason for it. Reported as it is, there were this many Roman Catholics. There's a lot of redundancy here. We see how we've got claim to be and claim to be almost side by side there. Not good. 8% said they were other. That's really awkward. Better, 8% were another religion. Now that's people getting hung up on the actual answer was other, so that's what they report. But saying 8% were other is just weird. 8% were another religion, practiced another religion. We got some formatting issues. N equals 63. See that up here? It should be N space equal space, and only the N is italicized. Equal 63 should not be. You need a space on both sides of the equal sign, and you're just not seeing that here. See here and here and here and here, both sides. No data were available for this many people. It doesn't sound particularly professional. No data were available. Data were not available is just better. It's better geek speak. Okay. What do you see here? Well, again, the use of preferred or preference is a bit problematic. A total of 1,000 participants were asked their religious preference. Most participants reported Roman Catholic as their preference. It's another case of the writer getting hung up on the language of the question, which was, what was your religious preference? To say that someone preferred Catholicism or Protestantism is just a bit strange. I prefer being Catholic, but, see, that's weird. I'd state it straight. This many people were Catholic, this many people were Protestant, and this many people were Jewish. 6% chose no preferred religion. It's awkward. 6% were another religion. Much better. You've got to listen to this and hear how it sounds. Also, no ends were reported. All this person reported were percentages. Data were not available, not was not. And once again, we've got a percentage reported that's less than 1%.